reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. You're listening to Crowfall Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems. And by Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to get your first month free. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Crowfall Reporter. I am Chris, and I am joined by the ever so wonderful Mr. Matt at MMO Matty. Did I remember right?
MMO Matty, at MMO Matty.
There we go. Good. Hi, Matt. How's it going?
Hello. It's going fantastic.
And the absolutely adorable Mr. at MMO Bill.
Thank you. I've been digging for that for years. I have never been called adorable until now, so that's bucket list tick. Done. You're
welcome. That is what we are here for. To provide those bucket list ticks.
Adorable mobile. That's going to be my new Twitter handle. I think every week I'm going to try to come up with a new
Twitter handle.
Name.
Yeah. For those of you who didn't listen to the Wednesday night stream, what we've been doing for the last few weeks, and we hope to continue doing, is PvPing in Guild Wars 2, and we might jump into some other games as well if we want to do some PvP. But basically, we're going to have Wednesday night streams of PvP from 8:30 p.m.-ish Pacific time until about 11 o'clock Pacific time. And those will just have us PvPing. We want to build up our PvP skills before we jump into Crowfall. And so we're in Guild Wars 2 last night. And Bill might have had a little bit of medication for some head pain, we'll call it. And so he was calling us all adorable. That was on the live stream. We have proof
multiple times.
Yeah,
kind of were. You earned it.
Aw, thanks. That's so adorable of you to say, Bill.
I'm not really sure. I appreciate it, Bill, but I'm really not sure how I earned it, because I spent the whole time we were streaming going, "Hey guys, wait up! Hey guys, I'm almost there. Hey guys, I didn't get it."
That was so cute. It was just I just wanted to just eat it all up. It was delicious.
You make an adorable corpse, Matt.
Yeah. I guess I did. I played that role very, very well.
You did, especially when that Zerg was coming towards you. Oh my God, guys! Oh my God, we're dead.
The alleged Zerg.
No, I saw the Zerg too. I saw it too.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pixar didn't happen. I deny it.
So
I think it's a conspiracy.
We have all PvP'd in Guild Wars 2 last week, but Bill, what else have you done in games?
Oh, well, not a whole heck of a lot, actually. It's been a busy summer week. I played Skyforge a very, very little bit. I downloaded the beta and created a character, and I'm just tootling around in the tutorial areas, and that's it. It's weird. I don't even know what to make of Skyforge yet. It's not bad. I'm not complaining, but there's something about it that's just out of my normal MMO sensibility. I haven't quite put my finger on it yet.
It's the lack of level. I think that'll be a big part of it. It just feels weird.
Like lack of level in terms of character development?
There's no leveling. You don't level. You earn experience, kind of not. You don't earn XP.
You're having a hard time with it too, so I'm glad.
Yeah. No, I'm saving it for my Skyforge review, which will be coming out next week. I'll talk about it on MMO Reporter too. So, what did you make in Skyforge? Which one of the 3 starter classes?
Oh, I made the magey, fiery, shooty thing.
The Lightbringer.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I figured it out.
Is that the technical term?
Yeah.
That is actually. It's in the manual.
Yeah.
The paper manual that comes with the game.
Cool. Good to know.
Paper
Good to
manual.
know.
Does it have a code? Here we are aging ourselves here a little bit, but do you have to turn to page 6 and find the second word in the third paragraph before you can start the game?
Yes, that's the design.
Yeah.
I still have a copy of Wizardry 5 where you actually have to do that. I still have the floppy disks. It's in my cupboard.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
I feel like there's an art project there, turning those the floppy disks into some kind of montage or 3D relief or something like that that you could put on display.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
sure about that.
you're not installing it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah. There's some silence there, Bill. All right. So, Nat, what about you? What have you been playing?
I have been continuing the theme of me dying, or I guess in this case my character's dying. I've been playing some Darkest Dungeon. I am a huge fan. I had a buddy tell me about the game last year when I went to PAX. I found him. It's amazing. I love it. I'm really good at killing my characters.
Yeah, I see it popping up all the time in Steam.
A funny story.
Yes.
Darkest Dungeon is one of PAX 10 this year. So one of the featured 10 indie games that's going to
just saw that.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's pretty fantastic.
No, it's epic. I rave, love, yada yada yada. A little bit of Gilded Dungeoneering through a beta code that I got from you, sir, and it's been a lot of fun.
Also
very tongue in cheek, very lighthearted. It's pretty fun.
You must be dying a lot.
And
there
then,
too.
yeah. Oh no, yeah, absolutely. And then just kind of embracing from afar because I don't have time to play it and actually do it. I've been watching some Titan's Grave and some Critical Role on the Geek and Sundry channel or website, whatever you want to call it. Just because, yeah.
Awesome.
That's my gaming for the last while.
Well, as for me, we like I talked about earlier, we have been doing some Guild Wars 2 PvP, but I also jumped into some PvP in Skyforge, and I was really, really quite blown away by how much it sucked. Like, it was horrid, horrible, boring. Hey, 6 people dropped into a kind of boring space and kill each other in boring ways. It feels like they just took a PvE game and threw everyone in a room, and that's your PvP.
Well, let's think about that for a second here.
Yeah.
Is that so bad?
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you from experience, Bill. Yes, it is.
No, like, let's say if you could choose between having a game with 0 PvP or having the round room with straight walls and free-form kill each other.
No PvP.
Yeah, really?
This is really poorly implemented. It's just not fun. It's because of the way Skyfall is built and the way you do your PvE. It's just not... And I guess I was playing a Paladin as well, which is a tanky class. And there were other Paladins there, but it was just boring. Really, really boring. And I like PvP.
Not knowing much about this game, what stage of development is it at? Is it fully polished?
Yeah, it just came out. I think it's still an open beta.
Still technically in beta, yeah. So it's one of those betas where the game is done and they're saying, "Hey, come try it out," before they officially have another release, official release, so that they can get in the news.
Gotcha.
Again.
But they're not wiping after open beta. And I've been in there for a couple weeks. And they're not going to wipe again. So I've been grinding.
Hey, maybe instead
sorry,
of
I missed that. What were you doing in the game?
I think he was minding his own business, is what I heard.
Grind like it's 1999.
I don't know what they should do is they should, instead of doing a release next, they should have an Epsilon release where they just say, "Hey, it's Epsilon," and they could like add a new button or a new color or something like that and ride that for 2 more weeks, and then they could have another release after that.
Yeah.
Or just keep working through the Greek alphabet, and it could be fantastic.
Yeah.
See, this is why I should be in marketing. My talents are wasted pounding on keyboards.
Yeah. Anyways,
Absolutely.
I'll have my full review for the game out next week. It's not as dire as I have talked about the PvP. The game is at a whole different level than the PvP. The game is not horrid. I will tell you that right now. All right. Before we get on to the news, I just wanted to mention our Kickstarter campaign. Those of you watching live or on YouTube can see our wonderful graphic at the bottom there. Our Kickstarter campaign is 65% funded. Woo-hoo! We're at the halfway point, and we're over halfway funded. That is fantastic. You are all fantastic people. We need your help, though. If you can go to tinyurl.com/MMOReporterPacks, you can back our project. And hey, not only do we have some great backer rewards there too, but if you back before July 30th, we have a draw. We're going to have a Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns wooden box and 2 t-shirts, one Guild Wars 2 launch party t-shirt and as well as Marvel Heroes t-shirt. That'll go out on the 30th of July. And then on August 5th, if you back before August 5th, we will have another cool pack that includes a Hellbug and a couple of other things. And then on the close of the entire campaign, we're going to have a final draw. And you can find all the details about this on our Kickstarter page. I've posted an update that has all the information about the draw, so you need to go check it out. That Guild Wars 2 shirt is really, really cool. It has the date of the launch. It has the really cool graphic. It's that white with the red Dragon 2 logo on the front. So it's really, really cool. And that Heart of Thorns box was only from the media events that they had. So I've got that for you as well. So go check it out. tinyurl.com/MMOReporterPacks.
So, first bit of news, we're going to touch on the release of the Confessor powers have launched, and they're out, and this is the first kind of the first ranged class that they've really released. So they got into a big discussion or a big summary of how projectiles and range abilities are going to work in Crowfall. So basically, they put an emphasis on the fact that there's going to be physics to every ranged attack. So everything that a character launches, or whether it's presumably whether it's a confessor or a arrow shooting class or something like that, every projectile is going to have what they talked about in terms of physics: mass, velocity, lifetimes, travel arcs, that kind of thing. So I was first off really, I found that really appealing, because that's just a little added bit of reality you don't see anywhere else. It's not like tab targeting where you just target the thing that you want to kill and then mash the kill button. You're going to be planning. You're going to be throwing. You're going to be kind of leading targets. There's going to be dodging that's not just like an automatic dodge in like, say, for example, in Guild Wars 2 and that kind of thing. It's I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like, what did you guys think? What did you glean from the range attack system they described?
I think it's really cool. It is going to have something a little bit different. It's going to be really, really interesting to have it based in such a way, instead of just a range, you can go out to this far of a range, you can play with the physics of it. And I think it's going to be killer. The question is, how much is this going to put a strain on the systems? Like, what are we doing to our system requirements? Because as you add all these systems in, and then you're going to have a million different people, hopefully, as you're fighting these battles, and then all of that physics needs to be calculated server side, like that's kind of a big deal, right?
I'm curious to see how they, exactly how they balance that, because you're right there, because it's not just that, it's not just physics processing that's got to happen on your computer, which I don't think is that big a deal. I think what they can do with physics, even over the last 5 years, is pretty impressive. You don't really notice it because it's actually become pretty good, but. The latency and the server client communication is really going to be a big deal there. It's going to be a shame if you shoot your fireball, it travels 20 feet through a wall because of a lag spike, and then a second later you realize it exploded against the wall and you just see pieces all over the ground. So it'll be curious to see how that works, but it's a great idea, and it's actually going to play nicely into what we're going to talk about here with the Legionnaire in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so in addition to the physics and the manual targeting that's going on with ranged attacks, it's going to be a mana fueled class. So instead of again with Legionnaire, they're going to talk about different resources. Mana is going to be what the Confessor uses instead of like energy, rage, sugar, alcohol, whatever. So so attacks.
Sugar and alcohol, my favorite fuels.
Exactly, they go together. The way, they were designed to go together. I'm pretty sure they're both so good for you. So the primary attack of the Confessor is very much a fire class. So you could think of like the Confessor cleansing the evil from the world and all of that kind of good stuff. The primary attack of the Confessor is actually going to be launching fireballs. So basically, your left click attack is fireball, fireball, fireball. Just like a certain. Anyway. Instead of lightning bolts, that was the other option.
Yeah.
So fireballs, and then it's going to be a 3-attack chain where in the third attack you're going to launch a couple extra fireballs. So that's the intention. That's kind of cool. The right click power is going to be a mobility power that gives you kind of a power slide. And again, I'm going to go back to Guild Wars 2. It seems to be kind of a match to the number 3 ability for the fire elementalist, which is basically this power slide and explosion at the end. So that's sort of what I'm imagining here from the Confessor. Past that, we're going to those are the primary most attacks. After that, when you get into the power bar, the iframe power. Before I go on from that, so we talked about iframe powers last time. Iframe is going to be powers that you get that kind of remove you from the normal physics of the game. You can't be interrupted. You can't be knocked down. You can't be damaged. So that kind of thing. That's what you're going to get with the Confessor, and you're going to get basically it's going to be a 5-second reprieve where you run really fast but can still cast spells. So it's going to be kind of like an anti-CC ability.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that. They're passive. They've got a couple of passive powers. One of them is Retaliate, which is basically the ability to quickly recover from being knocked down and launch a point-blank area of effect attack. And another passive power called Righteousness, where you randomly recover mana when you damage a target. So there you go. That's the first half of
the way they describe the Righteousness one. I can't wait to see the character action. Because what I read was that was the one where she's tearing the pages out of her book to recover the mana.
Oh,
I just think that'll really
that's actually going to be Fervor. So that's a little later, but that's going to be kind of cool. So we'll jump straight to that. We're going to work backwards on the power bar because that's just a beautiful lead-in. So if we jump to the power bar, you're going to have Fervor as the mana recovery, where basically you're going to channel your mana back into place while making yourself vulnerable to damage. Past that, and what they mentioned there too is that's going to actually be a very powerful combination with Immolation, which is the iframe power. So basically, you get 5 seconds mana recovery whenever you have Immolation. So that's going to be kind of your thing. You fireball, run away, recover mana, recover mana, recover mana.
Yeah, that to me sounds so exciting as a player. I'm like, oh, look, they're all coming to kill me. They've CC'd me. Ha ha! Poof! Gone.
Yeah.
Boom! Fireball in the face. Fireball in the face. Fireball in the face.
I wonder if I wonder if it'll wind up being a CC break, or if it'll be just a resistance. So if you're already snared or rooted or something like that, is immolation going to free you from that?
Yes, from what I saw, renders her invulnerable, removes her from physics, removes movement debuffs. I'm gonna guess CC is movement debuffs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so fireball to the face, fireball of truth.
Very cool. So, and again, sticking with the fire theme, we're gonna have condemnation, which is the 5 attack that is basically your flamethrower. That's ramped up based on the number of debuffs that the character has. There's going to be absolution, which confirms and converts debuffs into basically explosions on a character. So these sin debuffs that absolution and condemnation take advantage of actually get planted every time you do one of your primary attacks. So whenever you get hit by one of those fireballs, you have the sin debuff. So the fireball is exposing what a terrible person you are.
So it really is a fireball of truth to the face.
Exactly, yeah. So I actually am starting to get into the lore of this character. This could actually be really cool. So absolution and condemnation burn up those, no pun intended, those sin stacks and add damage and hate and all that kind of good stuff. What would a good fire class be without a meteor? They can just throw at stuff.
Yeah,
So
of course.
that's there. That's going to be that hold to charge power for the class. So basically, they can sit there and grow this giant meteor to the point where it actually becomes like a siege weapon that they can throw at walls, which is again very cool. Walking siege engine. We saw how useful that could be when we were streaming on Wednesday night.
That's true. And again, meteor of truth to the face.
Yep. That's gonna have. They're gonna need to put that in as as the character speech every once in a while. Truth to the face. Fire truth to the face.
Yep. We're good. You know, they play this this podcast through the Artcraft Studios phone system, don't you?
Oh,
comes
sure,
through the speakers on all their phones. So
it's their on hold music.
Mm-hmm. Well, not just that. They just loop it in while they're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Drives their passion.
Noted. Okay, you can get passionate about the fire shield that you're going to get from Hellfire, which is the number 2 attack. That's going to be their chaining attack that allows you could either build up your fire shield and just happily sit there with this shield that damages attackers, or you can convert your shield into a big fat fire wave that travels 20 meters in front of you, and that can chain into a big knockback attack. The other option in that chain is that you can consume the shield and create basically a pulsing damage shield, which can then be converted into tornadoes that basically act as gravity wells, which to me is actually a really cool thing as well. I can imagine this Confessor firing 4 tornadoes off as they're being attacked by a bunch of range attackers, and these gravity well tornadoes are pulling in like arrows and rocks and fireballs and that kind of thing and deflecting them from the Confessor and the targets around the Confessor. So I could see strategy here potentially coming up.
Strategy?
I'm curious to see how much of a gravity well it actually is. How big objects will be affected, if at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so you throw that down, then you have the not Legionnaire. What was the why can't I remember now? The archetype we did last show, the Knight. Thank you. Does their jump that also has a gravity well as part of it? Pull them in even further, and boom, like combo.
You create your own
combo. Yeah, our own singularity in Crowfall.
Oh, how
the
cool.
whole campaign falls apart. Boof, dead. It's like day 1. Singularity. Boom. Campaign's done.
Could you see that in the winter phase where just the world is close to ending anyway? You get a bunch of gravity wells all in the same area, and then all of a sudden there's this big black hole that never goes away.
And it's done. It's just, campaign's done. You got 2 minutes, grab your stuff, go, run. It's like 2012, 2000. You remember that movie with John Cusack? They're running away from the end of the world? Yeah. That's what it would be. Except good.
So, and then finally, their one button power is the Flames of Trust, which is an instant debuff. It's basically a debuff that you plant onto a character, and it sits there and it festers for about 10 seconds and then explodes and stuns the target and everything. Or you can choose to chain it and cause it to explode and stun a little bit more quickly for less damage and shorter stun and that kind of thing. So there you go. That is your Confessor. Now, keep in mind that all these power reviews and everything like that for each class are what they consider to be the minimal functional powers. Like this is the bare minimum they have to put into the class to make it fun and playable. By the time all the development is done, there might be more powers, there might be shuffled off powers and that kind of thing. So this is not necessarily a complete picture. But I think what we could draw from this, obviously, is magic fire, range attacks, and debuffs.
Meteors to the face.
Yeah,
Meteors to the face. Fiery truth to the face.
and I think you have to really go with the fact that this is not maybe different, will be different. This is a guarantee. There's no way that it will be exactly what they have here. It's so early in development, things will change.
Oh, for sure. But they're not going to suddenly turn this into a healing class or something like that, I don't think. I think it's pretty safe to say this is going to be your like we've said, the fiery truth to the face class.
Yeah, the what will stay the same. The how will change.
Yeah.
All right, so we actually had because we record bi-weekly right now, as the news makes itself available. We had 2 drops here for big news, and we found out about the Legionnaire and some more powers for the Legionnaire. So we're going to take a look at that. The Legionnaire is actually really, really cool, and I am amazingly excited by the Legionnaire. What really gets to me, first of all, well, you've got the whole, it's a horse. Okay, centaur, sorry. But not only that, it has a new resource mechanic of rage, which isn't something we've seen yet. We've seen a couple of other classes, but we haven't seen rage yet. And this is going to be one of those ones where you start at 0 and you hit stuff, you get rage. And once you've hit stuff enough, you can use rage to use your other ones. This Legionnaire is a frontline support character, and they wanted a resource that encouraged players to have direct participation instead of being at the back and being able to do stuff. This character, it's slightly faster than other characters. Duh, it's a centaur. But the size of them makes them seem slower. They are actually bigger, physically bigger than all of the other archetypes and races in the game.
And that introduces, and they mentioned in the article, and I can see it, really interesting dynamics when you consider that this game includes friendly fire, and it includes non-targeted range attacks. So you're going to have an issue with the fact that your Legionnaire is your support class, but it's a frontline class, and it's a physical barrier to attackers. But it also means that it's a physical barrier preventing you from hitting your attackers. So I can see Chris lining up as the Legionnaire and just getting in the way of my fireballs all the time.
The meteor to the backside of the centaur. I can just see it now.
The meteor of truth up the horse's butt.
Yep.
That's going to make me laugh for a while. Meteor of truth up the horse's butt. Anyways, but here's the thing. The one thing I want to correct is friendly fire is a rule that can be toggled in campaigns, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So you may have some campaigns without friendly fire. It is not an always or for sure thing. It is just a possibility.
True, but it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if every campaign will want that. Well, anyways, we'll talk about that when we talk about campaigns. Primary attack. Your left click is your basic attack. That's most likely a placeholder name. This is your rage builder. Your third attack in the chain fire is a group buff, which is a mana regen. 30 seconds of mana regen. And the fifth attack in the chain fire is a mana buff lasting for 30 seconds. So that's kind of cool. I like buffs. Buffs are good.
Well,
buffs
and
they're
they're separate mana buffs, and they stack with each other, but multiple commands don't stack with other commands. So they
Right.
made the point in there that it's going to be kind of an interesting dynamic because as soon as you've got two Legionnaires in an immediate group or immediate area, you're going to lose some of the utility of that Legionnaire because one of them isn't going to be dropping any buffs on anybody.
Right. Well, no, because you could have one going discipline, one going command if you're talking to each other.
No, well, it's all the same thing though, because both of them are going to be hitting discipline and demand, going on the assumption that they're both going to attack five times.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's going to be a race to see who attacks the fastest, because that's going to be the one that lands the buff on the group. So I'm hoping that they find a way to work around that, because it feels like you should be able to stack that up. That the more Legionnaires you have around, like everybody who's around should, if the class has a certain role, and this is what makes the class special, makes the class special.
Yeah.
Then just having two of them around shouldn't negate each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they talked about this a while back when they talked about combat. They said they wanted to make sure that people weren't useless if you had two of the same class around, and this is the exact opposite. So I don't know if either they've changed their mind or we're reading this incorrectly.
To be fair, what they've kind of said in there too is they aren't 100% clear on how these buffs are going to land too. It could be just an area of effect buff. It could be a group buff. It could be some other way that it lands. So it could be that if you space your Legionnaires out correctly, you get very good coverage. I don't know, but we'll see. It's hopefully that checks out.
And keep in mind what we just said about the Confessor too. This is a very, very early look. So there is a very good chance this is going to change. And well, no, it will change, like you guys said with the Confessor.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll figure it out. I hope they'll figure it out. Sounds really cool.
It does.
I believe they will.
Right click is dodge in any direction that you press your control keys.
So far, the naming of abilities for this class is just inspired. Basic attach. Dodge.
Hit stuff. Big club, me hit. Nay.
You should send. Send that one to them. I think.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Soundbite.
Yeah.
Soundbite. Yeah. You may knock players over as you jump in that direction. So maybe you want to dodge forward into your attackers rather than away, because you'll knock your friends over. And this is fueled by the stamina mechanic.
Yeah, I think most of the dodge or movement abilities are stamina run.
Yeah. There's no iframe power for this archetype, which is the first one we've seen like that. Instead, the C power is Eternal Rage, which is an instant rage boost. So you can run in, hit your C button, and get full rage right away without having to smack stuff until then.
Now, I'm sensing a theme here, though, that I think explains that. Because the iframe is essentially meant to kind of, like I said, it's that removal from physics, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
It seems like a lot of the natural abilities of the Legionnaire are maybe not complete removals from physics, but because of the size of the Legionnaire and the amount of momentum and mass they're going to have, it's almost like they're going to be always a little bit removed from the physics engine. I'm wondering if that's why or that's the justification behind not having an iframe ability on this archetype.
Yeah, you know, the first video I'm going to record when I get a chance to test out the Legionnaire is me running around somewhere going doom doo 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 doom doo 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 doom doo 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 on a tuba. Yeah. Anyways, they also got the Retaliate, which is similar to the Confessor we were talking about before. Another passive is Rear Kick, randomly retaliates 2 attacks from behind with a rear kick. Knockback to all targets. Woohoo!
Again, inspired naming.
Yeah. Hit stuff, big stick.
Just the poetry of it is...
You're going to love the next one. Are you ready? Love the next one. And sprint.
Oh, man. It's right in my heart.
I know. I know. So,
feelings.
Like you talked about, the Legionnaires are going to be a little bit faster than other characters. They're horses. Hello. And so they're going to sprint.
Well,
and they're
it
going to
looks
be able to
like
go even
class
faster.
Gets a sprint is what I was kind of sensing there.
It looks like so far.
Yeah, there's a sprint ability on On the Confessor, there's a sprint ability. On the Knight, I think it's just a thing that people get.
Yep. All right, power bar. Number 1 is your charge. Instant 25-meter charge carrying a small sphere of pulsing damage. Your first option is going to be to go into a wheel left. Instant stop, dead cone of damage to the left. Or wheel right. Instant stop, deal cone of damage to the right. Again, inspired naming.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is going to be Scatter Horde. Now, Bill, PBAOE.
Point blank area of effect.
Thank you.
I know you're not a magey kind of guy, so you wouldn't know that acronym, but
Hit
Dark
stuff,
Age
big
of
stick.
Camelot. Dark Age of Camelot players know that because that was, for a long time, it was Dark Age of PBAOE spells.
Got it. Number 3, Line Breaker. Hold to charge front wave, shockwave, 10 meters plus push effect. If you charge it over 66%, it adds 50% movement reduction debuff. Woohoo! You can, again, all this stuff, a lot of this is support, but not just that, it also seems to be like stun, almost. Like very much
stun.
CC based, right?
It's all knockback and knockdown.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting is that the mechanic, like, this is going to be the knockdown is going to be a significant mechanic in the game, and it's going to be its own thing. Like the way they've been talking about animations, it makes me think that a knockback or a knockdown is 100% separate from a stun. A stun is going to leave you rooted and stuck in a spot for a while. A knockdown is probably going to be fully engulfed in the physics engine, and you're going to basically be almost like a little bit of a projectile as you're going. Like, I could see you almost knocking in. I wonder if there's going to be collision for your teammates. Like, I'm wondering if it's possible you're going to be able to knock your own teammates back if you get hit by a strong enough knockback or something like that.
I think they're really the sense I got with the whole size difference between the Legionnaire and the other archetypes. They really, really, really want to make it abundantly clear that this thing is bigger than everything else, and that's where I think the knockback and all those kind of things come into play.
Like, it's got a bigger feel. Like, it's got gravity and mass. Like, it's not just that you're taller than everybody else. You've got more mass and more momentum and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. No quarter. Number 4 skill is a slight forward surge plus gone damage. You can go in 2 different directions here. If you keep going to combo it, is a follow-up attack with increased cone damage. And then you can also continue along that line of combos to a single target piercing damage in the front. And then if you go down the different path, you've got follow-up frontal cone damage applies armor break debuff. And combo that one, and you get a piercing attack plus a bleed. So a dot on your target. Number 5, Battle Cry. A rage-free group buff. Removes all snares from your group and applies a movement buff to your group for 10 seconds. So you are stuck. You got ambushed. You're in a trap. You are all debuffed. Boom. Pop your Battle Cry. Not only are you no longer CC'd, but you also have a movement buff for 10 seconds to get away, which is awesome. And then number 6, Rallying Cry, group heal plus attack power buff. So you're running in, pop your Rallying Cry, and you are all awesome for a little bit. Yeah, I'm really excited about the Legionnaire. This is going to be a class that I'm going to... It's less tanky than I thought originally. It's more buffy. Like, this is definitely total support, not, hey, look, I'm going to tank this thing, which the Knight completely is. But it has that hint of being more than just plain old support.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's the whole uniqueness of the frontline support thing. You don't see that really, and it's I really hope they do. This comes off, because I think it'll be really cool if it does.
Well, it's interesting because we talked about the mass of the Legionnaire, so that's a major attribute of it. But it's delivering mana buffs, it's delivering movement buffs, it's delivering heals, it's delivering attack power buffs. Like, that's actually that's almost the gamut And my original take on this was that all these abilities actually seemed a little bit simple, that they didn't have much to them. But when you take it as the whole, I mean, I'm not expecting a ton of damage per se. Like this, I don't see this as a DPS class, and I'm sure it's not going to be. But everything else about it sort of equates to it. Just a very toolsy class.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm quite excited, and I think it's in contention for my main class. I don't think Confessor is for me, but Knight and Legionnaire definitely are so far.
I can see having a Legionnaire just to try the bigness of it. But I don't see it as a play for me. The Knight was interesting, and the Confessor is actually really interesting to me. But just because I'm a damage kind of guy, but yeah, we'll see. There's still a lot of time to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got till the end of next week.
Yeah, my interest is definitely piqued by the Legionnaire. Kind of interested in the Confessor, but there are definitely other archetypes that have. I'm waiting to see how they play out for sure.
All right, Bill, you've got one more story here in the news.
Yeah, this is just a quick one. This is a news article that came up today. They put up a little art update. They have a gray box fly through of a large keep, so you can kind of see how that's going to look. And it's a fairly detailed 3D model, but it's still that gray glob type of coloring. Well, or lack of coloring, I should say. So if you want to see kind of the status of what a keep is going to look like, as well as a few character animations, some of the flame effects that are showed off in there, that's there. So we'll have a link to that. You can go check it out. The other thing that showed up in that news note today is it looks like a series that they're actually starting up there, doing kind of employee profiles of different different people. There are actually humans involved in this game. Some of the developers of the game. So today they had Allison Thus. Dang it. I can't remember from the video now. Anyway, she's the senior concept artist, and she talks a little bit about kind of her work method or inspiration, where she came from, and her snakes. Snakes with an S at the end.
Sorry, I'm just
Like
watching the
live
fly through
snakes?
again.
Oh yes, she's apparently. It sounds like she didn't like the term collector, but she talked about it like she had. It wasn't so much that she had 4 snakes. She had 4 species of snakes.
I see.
So,
You
Anyway.
see?
so for those in the live stream, if you would be so kind, Chris, I added a little bit of supplemental material for that video.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
There you go. Thanks, Bill.
Hey, I'm here to help.
Awesome. All right, let's move things along to our next segment. All right, this week in our tips and tricks segment, we are talking about campaigns. As we've mentioned before, we will be talking about different meta aspects of the game for the next little while in this section, as no one is playing the game right now, and then slowly transition into actual in-game tips and tricks of things that can help you out as you play the game. So last week we talked about the game in general. This week we're going to talk about campaigns specifically. And what are campaigns? Campaigns are basically the things that change. They will encompass a year. They always start in spring, then they go to summer, then fall, then winter, and after that, victory or defeat, where the world is destroyed in a cataclysmic event.
In that voice.
No, oh God, I want to recreate the frickin' Asheron's Call meteor. Like,
that voice would work.
Ooh, like
That voice would work.
the ending of the world just makes me. Oh, I want that.
Would be so cool. Wouldn't it be cool if your campaign is done, everything's decided, you're either in the winning side or the losing side, the world is crumbling, and you just sit on the keep that you built and you watch the world burn, and
Yes.
you just see the rain of hellfire.
The hunger coming towards you.
Actually, I guess it's more of a cold thing. Like it's more of a consumption of the world. But just it would be awesome to just watch the world end. I feel like that's an opportunity for just a really cool event.
You know what would be really cool? And this would be so awesome. If you are the winning team, you could go and try and survive as long as you can and get bonus points or bonus materials or whatever for being on the winning side, and then being in your keep and surviving the hunger as long as you possibly can. Right? The hunger has taken over the world. You're hunkered down in your keep in the campaign. How long can you survive? And
winning, your faction winning, or your guild or your group or whatever you've got, triggers an end game event, like or like almost like a boss event where it's a little bit like what game was that? It was Lord of the Rings Online, actually, that had that one. They had it wasn't a skirmish; it was a session play where where you're just doomed. I can't even remember the scenario now. You must remember it, Chris. You're sitting there thinking,
give me more details and I'll try to remember. Is it the dwarves one? In
it
Lines
wasn't
of
the
Moria?
dwarves one, because I think you actually escape from that, don't you?
Okay, I don't remember. Many moons ago, Bill.
Anyway, it's a scenario you play. You know you're going to die, but the whole point is to just see how long you can last. No, it was a skirmish. It was that one in the skirmish in the Barrow Downs, where you just get wave.
Oh, yeah.
Of undead, and the success for it is if you last 10 minutes.
Right.
If you last 10 minutes, you win the skirmish, but then the skirmish just continues until everybody dies.
Yeah, that would be really cool. So campaigns, though, can last 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. They've sort of expanded upon that since then in interviews and stuff like that. It might even go up to a year, could be different amounts of time. That's all set by when they make the campaign. So going into choosing which campaign you're going to go into, they'll have all that information available from the list that you can choose from. The world gets more harsh and resources become more rare as the year progresses. In spring, this is when everybody gets dumped into the world. It's exploration and discovery. Resources are plentiful, and the world is not really threatening.
So the thing to remember in this phase 2 is that it's an exploration world. Nobody's been in that world before, because it's not procedurally created, but it's still a random map.
Yeah.
There's no resource to say this is what the map's going to look like. So you need to run to point A and claim it first. And then there's a resource node at point B. And then everybody's got to split and go to C and D simultaneously. There's a phase where you actually need to go figure out where stuff is.
Yeah. Which is really cool. Then in summer, this is the tail end of exploration. You start to establish your areas, and I think the really strong guilds will probably, depending on the rules of the campaign, want to import some resources as well and try and get some more head start on everybody else. Start building your buildings and stuff like that in the world. And then in fall, I have a feeling late summer, fall is going to be when the real battles happen. This is when the people are just going to be trying to get as big of an area as possible. They don't have many resources left in their original area. They need to expand. This is when those territorial battles will happen, and winter will just be that's it. You know, this is war. This is all out battle. Yeah. And in winter, battles are finalized, resources are scarce. So that's sort of the general timeline and flow of a campaign, but campaigns can be completely different. There's a whole bunch of attributes to campaigns, such as map size, duration, import-export rules, magic level, how powerful it is, archetype restrictions, resource scarcity, death penalties, friendly fire, all that sort of stuff. That can all be set and changed based on the campaigns. Modules are rule sets within campaign types, so they can get different modules put on top of the different types of campaigns, which we'll talk about in just a minute, that might make it feel very, very different. So there are 4, they've added some extra ones, 5 types of campaigns based on this idea that there are rings. I'm just looking for the graphic here. Here it is. That there are rings around the hunger. Think of it almost like a solar system or planes of existence. In the middle of this is the hunger that's trying to spread out. And if you look at our live video, or if you look at the YouTube video, you'll see this. So the hunger's at the middle, and then on the very, very outer ring is the Eternal Kingdoms. The Eternal Kingdoms is going to be what's always going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Then when you go one in from the Eternal Kingdoms, you have your 3-faction gameplay. This is your Order, Balance, Chaos, or any other modules they decide to put on top of that, where you've got your RVRVR, basically. And so that's God's Reach. And then one more level in is the Infected. This is God versus God. This is 12-faction gameplay, where you're going to choose a god that you're going to support, and all those gods are at war, and there you go. That's your factions for in there.
See, I could see this being where I land a lot.
Yeah,
because it reminds me, it's got a civilization feel to it, where you've got these 12 kingdoms that they mentioned the risk scenario, but it's going to build up over time, and it's going to be very clear that there's one power, but hopefully, and what they talked about a lot, that they're going to try to tune the game towards and encourage is the teams that are not doing well, give them some kind of mechanic to band together to battle, or some kind of mechanic and some kind of motivation, whether it's rewards or whatever, to band together and really give the powerhouses a run for their money.
Right. And then go ahead.
I was just going to say the Infected is probably the one that piqued my interest too. I hadn't made the connection between that and Civilization, but it totally works. I'm intrigued by just 12 factions just going at her and seeing who comes out on top.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see, like Bill said, about the worry of having certain factions gain prominence, and therefore some of the other factions always being perpetual losers.
See, I could almost see it playing out too. Like, and again, I'm almost curious to see if this would happen. I wouldn't want to be on the losing side of it. But can you imagine what it would be like if instead of it kind of belted out where you had minor powers and major powers and alliances there, if it actually worked out to be almost like a game of Survivor, where 11 out of the 12 ganged up on one, obliterated it, and then 10 out of the remaining 11 gang up on one and obliterate that. Yeah. I could see that being a very cool sequence.
That would be super cool. Yeah.
Just to watch from afar. I don't know that I'd want to be in it, but I would love to like journal it and interview the people as they get voted off or obliterated or whatever.
Yeah. All right. And next is the Shadow. This is our guild versus guild campaigns. And then finally after that, the Dregs, which is a free-for-all. They are going to have another one, which they didn't say which one of these rings it's going to fall into, called Bloodstone. And I'm sure there's some other ones as well that we've missed here. But Capture the Flag. Bloodstone is Capture the Flag. And there's a really cool video. I'll throw a link in the show notes about it, where there's some different scenarios for this. It's not going to be just plain old Capture the Flag. They're going to put their own little twist on it. So these are some of the different campaigns that they're looking at to have in the game. Bill has sort of said the Infected. I know I've said God's Reach is sort of where I'm thinking of.
I can see the Dregs being really fun too.
Well, that depends on, if we go into the Dregs as a guild. That could be interesting, right?
Well,
yes.
The thing is, if we go into as a guild, someone else is going to go as a guild.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It's going to be whatever the biggest guild is. But if it could actually be a free-for-all, like if they had some way to make sure that everybody was on their own side and only playing for themselves, that could be basically like a survival game. It
no
could be like
grouping, right? No, not allowed to group.
Your Rust or whatever.
Yeah.
No grouping. You can still band together, but of course you can turn on somebody
immediately.
Like that.
Yeah.
Friendly fire. The ultimate friendly fire.
Yes.
Not so friendly fire. All right, moving on here. Rewards. Players can take items that they get there, whether it's resources or any other rewards, into what they call embargo. So this is going to be specific locations in the game world where players will be able to go. They'll drop stuff into embargo, and that'll upload items into quarantine until the end of the campaign. When the world is destroyed at the end of the campaign, some portion of the player's winnings, what they placed in embargo, will be transferred to their account bank, which can be accessed from the Eternal Kingdoms. So you want to drop stuff into that embargo because there's no chance, it sounds like, of you bringing stuff out that you didn't place into there. And that's the part of the goal, is to take stuff to Eternal Kingdoms to be able to build stuff there.
So if it's placed in embargo, there's a chance still that it might not make it to the Eternal Kingdoms?
If you lose.
That's kind of the way
yes.
I'm reading it.
You get a portion of your winnings if you lose. I don't know if you get all of it if you win, but they haven't gotten into quite that much detail yet. But if you don't have an embargo, there's no chance of you getting it. If you have an embargo and you lose, there's a chance that you'll get it. If you have it and win, there's a very good chance you'll get it. Maybe 100%. We'll have to wait and see. Resources may be limited by campaign type, although your access to resources will be limited if you don't play a certain type of campaign. You can buy them from other players. So they were talking about the fact that, okay, maybe a campaign will only have this type of minerals, or some other resource that you can only get maybe in the dregs, a specific rare type of mineral that's only available in the dregs. Because the dregs, as you get closer to the hunger, the world itself is more dangerous, right? Eternal Kingdoms is not dangerous. 3 factions. The God's Reach is more dangerous than that. Infected more. The Shadow even more. The dregs. There's going to be a lot of hunger. So as well as your PvP, you're going to have a lot more hunger to deal with, a lot more PvE. So that's kind of cool. So if you want the mineral from the dregs, well, you don't want to do the dregs, fine. You can buy it off other players who do play there. So that's a way that players could make money. Go into the dregs, get all those resources, dump it onto the auction marketplace, right? So that's kind of cool. And then the general rule, the biggest thing is the greater your risk, the greater the reward. So you go into a harder campaign, you are having a higher likelihood of good stuff. So that is campaigns. I'm really excited about it. This is something totally different than other MMOs. So different. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really jacked to see how this turns out, the whole campaign thing.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what else they come up with, 4 different types of campaigns.
And this is the hard thing about looking at Crowfall, is there's nothing for us to compare to. There's parts that we can pull at, but there's nothing like this. There's stuff that's inspiring this, but there's nothing that's there. Anyways, that was just my thought. Any final words on campaigns, gentlemen?
Bring it on.
All right, let's move things along to community.
So we found an article over on MMO-play.com that's talking about, it really focused on one of the Q&A questions that went to Artcraft and J. Todd Coleman and Uncle Bob that talked about balance and how Crowfall is going to be looking at balance, like balancing archetypes and classes and that kind of thing. And they basically gave the answer that, you know what, balance really is not that big a deal. It's a dumb thing to chase in an MMO, because what you wind up creating is a watered down, like every class gets watered down to the point where it becomes just this equal parallel thing with every other class. So you wind up being the exact same thing.
I read somewhere on one of the pages or in one of the videos, one of I think it was J. Todd Coleman equated it to rock, paper, scissors. Everybody has an equal chance of winning.
Yeah,
Meh.
and that's what I think what they're trying to go for is that whole rock paper scissors. That if you're for example, if you're a stealth melee class, you're going to be really effective if you can play to your strength of sneaking up behind somebody and unloading a ton of damage and hopefully finishing them off before they can respond. But if you try to go up against a big dude with heavy armor and giant weapons and he can see you, then you're pretty much doomed. They actually brought up the point that if you're this squishy stealth class and you keep running into heavily armored warriors, you kind of deserve to lose. You're bad and you need to stop doing that until you're not bad anymore.
You're bad and you should feel bad.
So I thought that was kind of a refreshing way to look at it. I mean, I realize we're early in development. It's easy to say that regarding balance, and you don't have the army of archers creating the forum war with 100,000 posts a day talking about how everybody else needs to be nerfed except them. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting philosophy. It's a good philosophy to take into the game, to say, you know what, we're not going to make it so that everybody has a chance to beat everybody. We're going to make it so that every archetype can do something well, and if you want to succeed, you need to do what your archetype does well and work well with the other people that are good at things that you're not.
Don't run your thief straight at a warrior.
Yep.
Or your engineer, right?
Yeah.
At a Zerg. Oh, sorry.
I don't want to talk about it.
I
don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, sorry. All right, we had another really cool piece of community news here over at Kickstars.net, which is a site that has interviews and stuff with successful Kickstarter campaigns. tinyurl.com/MMO Reporter Packs. Just saying. A great interview with J. Todd Coleman and Gordon Walton. Absolutely fantastic. I listened to the whole thing while I was playing a different game, actually, Skyforge. I was grinding. It is a fantastic interview. They are both incredibly well-spoken, and it's really cool because this is not a sales pitch type of interview. They're not selling the game. They are talking about the Kickstarter campaign in the game, where, you know, you get into this zone sometimes as a developer, and I've been on it from the interviewer end, where, you know, it's all about selling the game and talking about the game and that sort of thing. And this is such a great interview because it's not that it has nothing to do with the game, it's just that it's about so much more than that. So a great listen. It's an hour and a half long. We'll have a link in the show notes. You need to check it out, but it's really, really cool. I highly recommend that everybody go out and listen to it. Matt, Bill?
I have started to listen to it, and I've listened to enough to know that I am going to bite the bullet and listen to the whole hour and a half. It definitely piqued my interest.
Yep. Bill?
I'll take a run at it. It's long. That's an hour and 23 minutes. It's almost as long as this show.
Yeah, this show's running a little long this week. But it is amazing. It is fantastic. All right, go check it out, everybody, right now. Go let us know what you thought about that interview in the comments of this podcast. I want to talk about another site called Thieves Run, which is thievesrun.co, which is pretty much just links to Crowfall stuff. So, one thing that I found there, which I'm going to share with all of you now, is this really cool video of a Centaur helmet being created by one of the artists. Eric Hart is creating this. I found this on thievesrun.co. Now, Bill, you have a really good description of what this is like.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking through this. It's a beautiful site, very simple, very very clean design. It seems to be basically reddit.com/r/crowfall without the Reddit. So it's regular people posting links. It looks like Scree is the real link posting hero so far, but so if you're one of those people that just you're just not into all the drama that's been happening in Reddit Ooh, I've invented a new site, Reddit.
Quick, get it.
If you're
Get the
not into all
URL.
the Reddit drama that we've been seeing over the last few months,
Rub it.
yeah, there you go. Thieves Run, all your Crowfall stuff, just right
Yeah.
there without the drama.
And by the way, that video creating the Centaur helmet is freaking awesome. Like, really freaking awesome. So you should all go check it out, too. Those of you who watch live or watch the YouTube video, you are watching it right now. All right.
Yeah.
Matt, this is a show. And at the end of the show, we usually let people know how they can contact us. Could you let them know?
Absolutely. So you can find us at our website, mmoreporter.com. If you have questions, concerns, comments, or things you'd like to just generally tell us, you can email us at crowfall@mmoreporter.com. The Twitter handle for our podcast here is at Crowfall Podcast. Chris's Twitter is at Almazar. You can find Bill at Star Wars, sorry, at MMO Bill. I am at MMO Matty. YouTube channel is youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MMO Reporter. Send us a message. Say hi. Fund our Kickstarter. It'll be a good time.
tinyurl.com/MMO Reporter Packs.
I was leaving that one for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Matt, for a fantastic show. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I always enjoy this.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
This is
You're
adorable.
adorable.
Shut up, both of you. All right, thanks to everyone for listening to the show. Thanks for our very quiet chat room tonight, for coming out and hanging out with us as we recorded the show. We really appreciate it. We hope that all of you download the show again next week, but most importantly, we can't wait to see you in game. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at mmoreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.